In a previous talk I mentioned how the two big enemies are our self-centered thought and the self-grasping ignorance. So we talked about the self-centered thought, and the self-grasping ignorance is the mind that, on the basis of the aggregates, conceives a person and then forgets that we're the one that conceived and labeled the person, and thinks that there's a person there from its own side. And so grasping onto an independent, truly existent person out there, objective, self-empowered, in control, that doesn't depend on anything. And that's the way we feel sometimes, especially when there's a strong emotion in our mind, especially an afflicted emotion, when we're angry or jealous or greedy or fearful. There's a very intense feeling of I that lies behind these kind of destructive emotions. And so we can apply the usual antidotes that are specific for the different kind of emotions, like meditating on fortitude or love to overcome anger, meditating on impermanence to overcome greed and attachment. But to really cut the continuum of the afflictions altogether, we have to eliminate this self-grasping. So the self-grasping comes in all sorts of different ways, and we're so used to it being around that we don't even notice it. Yeah, and it's just the feeling of me. Yeah, me, I'm here. Yeah, and if you can watch sometimes, when your mind gets very quiet, somebody just says your name, and there's this thing inside. Yeah, do you ever notice that? You know, everything's quiet, and then you hear your name. There's, oh, I'm here, you know. And I was thinking about your question, Brian, when you said about when I want to watch my mind. Yeah, and so who's the I that wants to watch your mind? So then when we say, well, maybe it's my Buddha nature, or maybe it's my mind, okay? But all of that is again involved in self-grasping, because we're trying to find one single thing that we can say, this definitely is me, and give it a label, draw a circle around it, and then, okay, it's done. I know who I am, I exist, yeah. And that's why I was really encouraging you, when you get that thing of, you know, okay, well, who was watching the mind, or who was meditating on the 4 establishments of mindfulness, to not just try and find one thing to label, but to really sit there, and it's like, okay, who's doing this? Because we have a certain feeling about who the person is. But if we search, what's actually doing the meditating is the mind. Now, can you find something that the person does that neither the body nor the mind do? In other words, can you find an independent person that doesn't depend on either the body or the mind? Yeah. And so instead of saying, well, no, I can't find that, you have to just look. You know, there's this feeling of, I'm meditating. Well, okay, exactly who is or what is? Well, there's this mind. You know, well, what mind? Well, mental consciousness. Yeah, but it's not just the mental consciousness. There's a primary mind, there's all these mental factors, there's all these different ways of perceiving of the mental consciousness, you know. And anyway, even if I locate one consciousness, is a consciousness me? Because there's a special feeling about a person that you don't have when you think about a mind, isn't there? Yeah, a person has some kind of, they're juicy, there's some flavor, you know. A mind is, well, it's just a mind. A body is just a body, you know. But a person, you know. So really check that out. Yeah, and see what you come up with. Okay, so that's one homework assignment for today. Another homework assignment for today is, as you all know, the Abbey, the community at the Abbey, we eat only the food that is offered to us. And we've been depending on the kindness of other people for many years, and we've had very good food. And just recently, I think I was saying we shouldn't kind of assume that food is always coming, that food is always there. Yeah? So we just recently discovered in looking at some things that our food fund account is depleted, probably at 0. So for the rest of the retreat, it's possible to have food from the dana that was given by our guests to support the retreat. But after that, we'll see what happens. So just to give you a little bit of warning. Okay? Yeah. And so when we dedicate for our benefactors, like we do tonight when there's soak, to really not take their generosity for granted, and we may very soon be faced with a situation, where we're, not having people come and deliver food to us every week. So it depends on them, but just so people can think about it, yeah, and really appreciate the fact that the Abbey exists and our own lives exist due to the kindness of other people.